and his favorite food can make it seem like a meal is falling flat. Variety made shade a connoisseur and parsley, sage, rosemary. Reading time is just a touch of salt and mix it up. Rare pear cuts, ice cube pear, heat boiled, poached summer saute, sear whisk beans, skewer fried, roast toast, baked chill, serve raw microwave reheat. If your mouth is watering, 6:30 p.m. on the first Thursday of each and every month, the Very Funny Podcast is what you're looking after. And Chef Felix with comedian co-host Bonnie Scalisi, Levittown Governor's Comedy Club. It's a recipe for laughter. Live from the world-renowned Comedy Club in Levittown Studios, Gov's Comedy Club Podcast, a monthly podcast on the first Thursday of every month with Chef Felix and comedian co-host Bonnie Scalisi. It's a recipe for laughter.
Okay, we're on.
We're on.
All right, this is the show for May.
Recipe for laughter, and we have an interesting spin this night. We're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be talking about the single scene.
That's right. We have the single show today for all those lucky people that are singles.
And you know what? Even if you're not single, at some point you used to be single. At some point, maybe not to your wanting to. In the future, you might be single. So
that's true.
You have everyone has an opinion on this because everyone's been single at some point.
Everybody, has a single past. Let's face it.
Correct.
I had 2 single pasts.
And sometimes
because I was divorced.
In
so there you go.
And I was divorced twice. So in between, there was dating. And there's so many funny stories about dating, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Right.
It's horrible.
and we're gonna have some nice questions to ask when you're on your first date, and also
I'm ready for this.
Other dating kind of questions.
And we want your, you know, if you don't feel comfortable.
No, I'm comfortable.
You're comfortable.
So we're going to introduce.
Nobody's shy here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so our guests tonight are Gio Fermato and James Grimm. They are both comedians, and they're more about themselves.
Wait.
I was going to say what?
Wait,
and screenwriters. And also Tracy Dreschler. So each one of you, why don't you explain what you are as far as I might have butchered that you're not. I know James is a comedian. So
you can call it that.
So Gio, I know you're also a screenwriter.
I do screenwriting. I promote a lot.
Because I met you through Sarah Martin.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she connects people. So that's how I met.
Does she ever stay in one place? She's constantly on the go.
Oh yeah, she's always traveling. Yes.
So James, you're a screenwriter also?
I am not the screenwriter.
Oh, okay.
I'm a screenshotter.
Okay.
That's where I draw the line.
So we are drinking champagne and wine, and we're getting our party on. And the good thing about singles life is you have freedom.
Oh God.
And you can do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. Not technically not.
Technically,
but you know,
But
it's a little bit more than.
You don't have anybody to answer to, which
correct.
is nice.
Thank you, Tracy. That's what I was getting at.
Yes.
So, Tracy, what is your connection to them?
So my connection to these two gentlemen is I run a group with 4 other friends called the Sensational Singles of Suffolk.
I like that one.
Yeah, thank
That's a
you.
great title.
We're 45 and over. And I met both of these gentlemen before my specific group existed. Predominantly, a lot of the groups, there are other ones, they're all great, nothing bad to say about any of them. But they predominantly were doing things in Nassau County, and I live in Oakdale. So it was always, take the train to the Uber, take the Uber to the train, like whatever, because I do like my cocktails. Anybody who knows me knows
Or
this.
just chance it.
And so we have members from all over the island, even some in Queens, but we we only do our events in Suffolk County. So that's the thing that makes our group a little different. And I knew these gentlemen before, and Gio and I have come together with my admin team and his team and put together some really kick butt parties.
And events.
That's a fact.
And events.
Including comedy shows.
Yeah.
Including comedy shows. So James and I co-produced a show about a month ago, and Gio helped us to promote it, and we had John Ziegler headline it. And that was the best I've ever done, because I found who my demographic is who love me is drunk single women. Cheers! Every part of my routine.
My favorite.
I never got that many laughs in my whole life. I mean, they were like howling. I've never got a response like that. So, thank you. Cheers.
Well, those
You
were
found
all
your
recently
audience.
Divorced people. They weren't howling for you. They were just howling because we're out.
They just were the best audience I've ever
They're a
had.
good audience.
Yes,
They're good people.
They are. So thank you. And Gio, you didn't get. Actually, John Ziegler was asking to meet you, and I sadly you couldn't come that night. So we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do another one of those.
Yes. So Gio, you also do what Tracy does, but for Nassau County, or kind of a mixture of both?
I do everywhere.
Everywhere.
Next month we're going to a haunted house in Nappaneck, upstate. So
Oh,
okay.
wow.
I will anything that's fun I will do. So
If that's your idea of fun, scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
And how did you, James, meet Gio?
Well, through the groups, right? So we started going to the groups. I got divorced, so we started going to the groups, and Gio was always like hanging out, and I was like, and Gio's like, let's, you want to do an event with me? And I'm like, okay. And Gio, if anybody knows, this guy could put together a party. And any party Gio puts together, for some strange reason, everybody wants to be there. I don't know what it is, and it's always a blowout of an event. So
Well, I haven't been to one, so I'll
You
have
need to
try.
come to one.
Is it only for single people?
well, doubles are welcome, but they're kind of boring. But anyway,
Yeah, right.
Well, we of course have people that
Yeah.
have met within the groups that are now
Couples.
and we don't now shun them and they can't come and hang out with
That
us.
would be funny if you did.
get out.
Like, get out.
And also dynamics change. You know, you could be dating somebody for a couple
Oh,
weeks,
that's
couple months,
true.
and then just doesn't pan out, and you
Or
find yourself
27 years.
back in, right.
My favorite is when we get those two that get together and like, oh, we met in the group, so now we're gonna have to leave the group. I'm like, you don't have to leave the group. They leave the group and then they wind up coming back like 3 weeks later because they broke up.
Because it didn't work.
And now,
Then there's that. It's a
that's
probation.
an interesting
Yeah.
dynamic. So what happens if they're together at a party and they see each other? They just ignore each other?
I've already figured that out.
Oh no!
Yeah. Where they
Listen,
don't, one doesn't come if the other comes?
no. That if one's going, the other one's going for sure.
Yeah, it
And
depends
it-
on
yeah.
the situation, but
Listen,
mostly I think it's amicable with some digs and stuff here and there.
Best
But
way to be is amicable. I mean, you're dating, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ.
Do you go
Well-
over like certain standards or rules?
No,
at these
no.
places or anything
What
like
you
that?
do is you just watch them and watch the nightmare happen. To me, it's always a nightmare.
It is always a nightmare.
Because
it's always
what-
a nightmare.
If you could do a podcast from one of these parties, that would be
Yeah.
the
We
best
could.
ever.
Because what happens is they the worst thing you can do when you break up, and if anybody's listening, it is the worst. Don't talk bad about the other person, because what you do is, yes, you're diminishing their stock. You are killing your stock, because the person that starts talking bad about the other person
Yeah.
is the person they're gonna
That's
be
true in
damaged.
every sense of the word.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
as far as like in any circumstances, usually if like I know people if they start talking bad about somebody, I think to myself, when I'm not in the room, are they
For sure.
doing that?
Yep.
Saying
It's a
that
shitty
about
thing
me?
to do is to talk bad about
Right,
your ex.
so-
I don't talk bad. I don't mention my
So
ex.
in life, in general.
well,
that's
wasn't
a-
that the rule even back when you were younger and you were going your first job interviews? They would tell you, don't talk bad about your
Don't never
previous
talk bad
employer. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
it's kind of goes along with that.
I mean, part of you is enraged, so it's hard to keep a cap on it. But when logic comes in, you know that that's not the right thing to
Well,
do.
what did Seinfeld used to say, that he's a bad breaker-upper? There are those people too.
Oh
He's a
yes,
bad
Yes.
breaker.
yes.
Listen, if you're talking crap about your ex, what do you think your ex is saying about
Yeah.
you? That's how I see it. So you know what? I don't mention my ex unless you specifically ask something.
My
then I'll tell you.
routine is about my ex-husband.
I
The whole
understand
thing.
that, but it's also your routine.
Right.
Right.
You know, you're making fun of a situation.
No, that is so true. Because when I got divorced, I was dating this woman and actually living with her. Okay, and I guess she must have sensed I wanted to break up with her, and she started to demonize me with all of my close friends, so that her strategy was, if we break up,
It's your
then
fault.
I'm going to take all your friends away from you, and you know that's how it.
And that's exactly why you want somebody to stay with you, right? Because you're afraid to leave them. I mean, the mentality.
The way you combat that is don't have any friends.
Don't have any
That's
friends.
true. That's not hard for Gia.
Yeah, I said that all the time. I know a lot of people. I have no friends. I don't need you as a friend.
Right. There are differences between friends and acquaintances too. By the way.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
Yeah.
when I lived with her, she had this block party, and one of my friends
I'm loving these stories.
One of my friends loved the block party. He'd bring his kid and to his kids. So I said to him, you know, and we're very close because we went to military school together at age 14. So he was like a very close friend of mine. And I said, yeah, I don't think it's like working out. So he'd say to me, no, you can't. I got to take my kids to the block party. And I'm like, find another block party, you know.
Let me stay together for that. Yeah, so your kids can go down a water slide.
After I broke up with her, I saw pictures on Facebook, and he was at the block
Felix,
party.
answer the phone.
Whose phone? Oh. Hello? Can I help you?
Hello, good afternoon, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Who are you?
I'm DJ Duff. How you guys doing?
Oh, look who it is.
DJ who?
What do we do, Tony?
Hi, Tony. It was me last time. It was a couple days ago. I wish you had birthday.
I know him. How
Yes.
are you? Good to see
Can
you.
you raise the volume on that?
You too. How you guys doing today?
Are they gonna
It's
call me
been a
Bull?
long
Is that what they
time.
called for?
Are you single?
No,
I'm married.
Oh, right. That's right. I'm sorry.
We
I
had
should know
his
that.
he got married
Right,
here.
I remember that. I
And
do
Tony
remember that.
performed the ceremony, right, Tony?
So we're
Oh,
talking about
Sally did. That's right.
we're talking about singles events. So keep listening in and type in if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
All right,
Okay,
thank
bye.
you.
All right.
Take care, buddy.
Hi, I'm married. This is a single show. Yeah, goodbye.
Pretty much, right?
Like, we don't care about your boring life.
Actually,
I guess she's yelling at you right now. Goodbye.
I got him his wedding cake actually for that event.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
That
Tell
is
him to
so
get
nice.
divorced and then he could call back.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So-
Wait a couple of years.
Like I
Got my
said,
lawyer's office
on
right now.
Facebook, I see my friend there at the block party the following year, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe he actually was that two-faced on me, you know?
It gets weird.
Well, I would
Yeah.
say, though,
Weird.
I think for the most part, you guys can obviously disagree, but I think for the most part, people that break up in the groups, it is, for the most part, amicable. I mean, you have, the one or two ugly situations, but I think for the most part,
alcohol
people
also,
are.
when alcohol gets involved, things can.
I have
take
no
a
idea
shift.
what you're
Alcohol
talking
brings
about.
people together, and alcohol tears
does
people
both.
apart.
Right. it
It's
does
It's
both.
amazing what alcohol could do.
Right.
There's a lot of
Good
alcohol.
local alcohol today.
Listen, do not blame alcohol. Alcohol has brought more people together than they're broken apart, okay?
Really?
That's true.
There's a lot of people that are, again,
I
to quote
100%.
Seinfeld, are undateable. Alcohol is the one that helps you.
Whatever number they
That's
are
true.
from 1 to 10,
Yeah.
the alcohol brings them up at least 3 levels.
It's also helping ugly people get laid.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's what I said the other day. It's was she a 2 at 10 and a 10 at 2? Was that the
Yeah,
old
man.
joke?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes, for sure.
So Felix has some singles questions.
Yes.
He's
I'm
going to
down.
throw them
Let's
at
go.
you. You know, if you feel comfortable answering
I'm
them.
very comfortable.
Okay, now
If you don't, it's okay. You could say pass.
there's two
And again, the wine
categories.
helps.
One are, you heard of truth and dare, right? Well, I have just the truth questions, not the dare questions.
Shucks.
And the other one is the other one is 100. Well, we're not gonna do 160, but they're first date questions.
Okay.
All right, let's do the truth.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Is one of those questions? Are one of those questions who pays for dinner?
No,
that's
but we
a good
Okay.
one.
No, it's the worst question ever.
No,
She
no,
pays.
no.
Let's
She
take
pays.
his question.
It's the worst
first.
because you have a bad
Who pays
answer
for
for that.
dinner?
I paid for
That's
so
why
many
you say
dinners.
it's
I'm
the
good.
worst.
Can I say when I was just this last time around, so that's 7 years ago, I always thought that I should pay half. Or if we're meeting for coffee, we didn't even go for dinner. I wanted to buy my own cup of coffee because I didn't want to feel like the person put out any
You don't want to be
expense.
obligated.
No,
You know.
it doesn't
What it
work
is.
like that. Listen, here's the thing. If I'm going out and meeting you, I'm gonna pick up the check. If you are gonna say I'm gonna pay half, I'm gonna go. Oh, it's over. She's not interested because you're just like, let me just get out of here.
Oh, shoot.
I'm out.
I was doing it all wrong.
Yes.
I thought I was
if
being
on
polite doing
let's
that.
say we're on a 10th date, right?
Yeah.
A 10th date, and you're like, you know what? I'm paying tonight. I'm gonna go. It's yours. I will let you pay for sure because we're just doing 50-50.
Right.
But I'm not gonna be like, let's do Dutch.
So it diminishes your manhood if a woman says
It doesn't. No, it doesn't bother my manhood. It just makes me think, oh, this is super non-traditional, and she's out.
Yeah,
You're out on the date.
I have a problem.
And I'm so traditional,
It's over.
but I thought I was being
You know
nice. See
You're
how
right,
it's miscommunication?
If you have a penis, you pay on the first date. That's the rules.
Yes. Coming from, again, I say this many times, coming from a Sicilian background, Italian background, I have to pay for the woman no matter what. I just feel so uncomfortable. For
sure.
I think
I feel like
in our
it's a dick if
demographic,
I'm not
that's
paying
the
on the first
majority
date. I'm like,
that the men feel that
dick I
way.
am.
I feel, I pay for sometimes, friends, you know what I mean? So
No, fuck those
I
friends.
can't do it anymore. No, usually they pay for me
We split
now,
the bill.
but-
We split the
Anyway,
check evenly.
But there's-
before we go any further, I'm sorry. That's Brian McGowan in the back there.
Yes,
I don't
hi,
know if I
Brian.
ever introduced
I'm
him.
sorry, Brian. I should have introduced you.
Yeah, but anyway, so go ahead.
So again, in our demographic, it is traditional. Most of the men do offer to pay, or expect that they're going to pay on the first date.
Right.
I think that it's nice as a woman for me to offer. Would you like me to split the
Well,
bill?
that's what I did.
Or can I
Yes.
leave the tip? Or now if we go to a bar after or whatever, let me pick up the drinks. I just think that's nice. But I also know that you do have to be careful, men out there. And I say this because I have a lot of men friends in the single world. There are women, and I forget there's a word for it, but they just go out to get the free meals. They just set up
course.
multiple dates a week just to get
Boy, they must be really hungry.
And they
Wow.
and they take advantage of ladies' nights.
Yes, I'm sure they
Well,
do.
Let me
bars
stay up
make
at the bar.
ladies nights for reasons.
I have to
It
ask,
brings
though,
them in.
when you take the guy out and you pay for dinner, do you expect him to put out?
Yes. Just kidding.
I always expect him to put out.
Always put out.
I always
There's
expect him to
never
put
an
out.
issue there.
Well, okay. So if you wait. If you're paying for a meal to put out, you're the one that says that you like coffee dates.
He does.
I like a coffee date. What's wrong with a coffee date?
So
That's
is that
usually-
just a hand job? Just saying.
That is a great joke, man. I have a joke similar to that. I have a joke that says like, I went to McDonald's and he got me a McNugget meal. So, and my friend had told me that if a guy buys you dinner, you have to you have to have sex with him. So McNuggets, is that does that mean a hand job? I mean, I didn't do the joke correctly, but that's the gist of it, and you just said it right there.
That's the jizz of it.
The gist of it. So go
I
ahead,
think the
Tracy.
coffee things, though, when you talk about the coffee dates, they're not really dates. Those are meetups. That's you met somebody online or something
Yes.
like that.
'Cause
I think
the
one
guy doesn't want to spend a whole meal.
It has nothing to do with the guy not wanting to spend.
and
It's
I don't wanna get
wanna
dressed
commit
up
a
and-
whole day.
Yeah.
Situation.
Plus,
Plus, you don't want them to go to your house. You want to meet them in a meeting place. You don't.
They
wanna
might not
have,
even look anything like the photo.
well, that happens
That's
a lot.
exactly what that is.
That-
It's like,
that
I'm
happens a
coffee.
lot of
Let me
times
look
to
at
me.
you. Let me determine if I should even say who I am or just
Right.
ghost you before I meet you.
But that's why I
Isn't
do
that what
really
the alcohol is
recommend.
for?
Yes, but that's why I really do recommend the singles groups, and we say that
Right.
we're not. We're not for matchmaking necessarily. We're just a social group, but you get to see, people in a natural habitat, so to speak, right? You get to see if the person
Look at the
over
south.
drinks, every time they're out. You get to see if they're rude to a server or a bartender.
Not on a first date. Everybody's on their
You
best
get
behavior.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not on a first
Okay,
date. I'm saying
alright.
when we
Fair
meet in the singles world, right? When we meet in the groups, you've seen each other. We've met each other. We see how everybody interacts. Whereas a meetup, going for the coffee or going for the walk or the ice cream, whatever, that's safe because we don't know. We don't even know
And
what
we're
they necessarily
sober
look
on
like.
the
Oh, I have a story for you. Okay.
Okay.
There are certain stories that should be made into jokes. I don't know how to make this into a joke, but
Let us help you.
I was on Plenty of Fish, and I was chatting with this man. He had an English accent. I actually spoke to him on the phone, and he kept saying, because I don't like to drag, back in the day, I didn't want to drag on the conversation. If you're a real person, let's meet, and either it's going to happen or it's not. So I kept saying, let's meet for coffee or a drink or whatever, and he kept saying, I want to meet you in my car.
Wow.
I want to meet you in a car. And I go, look, I've never met you, so you could be a rapist.
Like late
or-
at night kind of a thing?
Yeah. Like
That's a little weird.
Yeah, you don't want to do
and
that.
then I'm like, forget it then. So then he'd be like, all right, we could meet for coffee. I'm like, okay, there's a Starbucks here. And then be like, okay, I'm going to meet you in my car.
In
and
your
he
car.
kept doing that. So finally I was just like, this guy is not serious. Whatever. I don't know if he.
What's the car thing?
It
Why
was.
he
It was
so
like.
obsessed?
It was very weird.
Yeah.
And all my friends were like, "Don't go on that date. Don't
Well,
go
you're the
on that
driver.
date."
Is that weird?
Because I'm like,
You know
seen horror
what? Maybe
movies
he
that
was
way.
maybe he was an Uber driver.
Right.
that's a good
That's
line.
a joke.
Okay, thank you.
He wanted to stay on the clock, Gio, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure you all have so many funny single stories. But go ahead,
I
get
was
one
gonna
of
say,
your questions.
Oh
in.
yeah, one of the questions. This is
His
a truth
questions
question.
are cool.
What is something illegal that you wish you could do?
Illegal that I wish I could do.
Right.
Huh. That's a crazy question. What does that have to do with being single? Like, married
these
people
are
do
like
illegal shit
breaking
too.
the ice kind of questions. You know, things like that.
You're right. It could be across the board for everyone.
Yeah.
What is something illegal that I wish I could do? I wish
That
I
you
could
haven't
not
done
pay
already,
taxes.
James.
Yeah.
Legally. There you go.
That's
a
what
good
I
one.
wish
That's a
I
great
could do.
answer.
Yes, that's a good.
That's
answer.
what I wish.
I know. I'd actually be qualified as rich if that was the case. I didn't have to pay taxes.
For sure.
Absolutely. So throw out another one. What do you got?
Okay. What do you think about when you're sitting on the toilet?
These are great singles questions, I gotta tell you.
Again, that could go for anybody.
Anybody? It's
What
breaking
am
the
I
ice.
thinking about
That's
when I'm on the
breaking the
toilet?
ice, all
Like,
right.
okay, when I'm on the toilet, I'm thinking, I don't want to go back to work.
I was about to say. I mean, I haven't thought on the toilet since the phone was invented. So
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah,
I think, and
yeah,
nobody will
that's-
admit it, but
yeah.
everybody's
Well,
on
there
their
were book
phone.
days for a long time.
Well, the
Now we have
business was-
phones,
Right.
Yeah.
We used to
quicker.
read books or magazines.
Or a
Yeah,
newspaper.
Our phones and remote controls
I used to
have
know.
the most
I,
bacteria on them.
I used to know every ingredient in shampoos before phones were invented.
We had a magazine
Boxes.
rack
Yes.
in my bathroom in the 80s, okay?
Well, for me, what I think about is
James
I
had
should
Victoria's
never have
Secret
had those
catalogs. He's
free
lying.
I
tacos
did.
with lunch. That's what I.
Oh,
think.
yeah, Tracy brought up a good point.
I'm approaching 60.
My-
I just hope everything
my
comes out
step-
okay.
My stepmother had 2 Victoria's Secret catalogs show up to the house. She only knew about one of them. Every single, 3 months it came out.
I get it.
Okay. All right. Well, for dating questions, okay, we'll go back to truth. Okay. Who is the most fascinating person you've met?
Back to dating. So,
Dating.
No, not in,
I thought you
no,
said
it's a
dating
dating question,
Okay.
James. It
These
doesn't
are
mean
first
who's the
date
most
questions.
fascinating
who's the
date
most
you ever
fascinating
had.
date I went on? Right? Is that what you're
Fascinating.
asking?
No. Who's the most fascinating person you've met?
Through dating?
This-
Or at,
No,
or
No, he's-
At all?
If I met
Just
Richard Gere, does
questions.
that,
It's
does
a
that qualify?
right.
When
It's a
you-
first date
When
question, is
you're
what you're
sitting
saying.
down
right, Phil?
having a
Oh,
cup
okay.
of coffee, you turn to that person and say, "Who's the most fascinating person you've ever
Oh,
met?"
I met Crackhead Bob. I met him at a strip.
That's
He
fascinating.
was fascinating.
That's
Like,
very
This
fascinating.
guy's wearing a shirt with his own face on
Howard
it.
Stern.
Crackhead Bob from Howard
I,
Stern, yeah.
When I was still married, and my kids were younger. Me and Brian Kilmeade, Fox
Brian
News.
Kilmeade, yes.
We were in England together because our
Oh,
kids
that's
played
so
together.
cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
He's first of all he's a very nice guy,
I'm sure he is.
and he's the opposite of how he is on TV, right? Because TV he's all
Very
loud and stuff like that.
conservative
He
and
was the
everything, yeah.
quietest guy there. Probably
Sure.
because he needs to pull
He
back.
needs to be quiet.
Yeah.
After it's entertaining, yes.
So I was very fortunate to meet a lot of famous people. I worked horror show conventions for several
Oh,
years.
Oh my
Okay.
God, I love
So-
Star Trek.
No, horror shows, not Star Trek.
Like Svengoolie
Okay.
or something.
Horror
like
I
shows,
love
that, right?
horror movies too.
So, but I would say the most fascinating person was Meatloaf. His last
wow.
his last appearance was at a convention that I was part of running.
Wait, who was it?
Meatloaf.
Oh, Meatloaf. Okay.
kinda
Yeah.
That's very cool.
His-
Rocky Horror Picture Show, right?
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes, and that was his last appearance, and he was just the most lovely, fascinating guy, and he was very happy to spend as much time as you wanted talking to him, and
Right.
that would be mine. What about you, Brian?
Sir Paul McCartney.
Oh wow!
You have to tell us about that.
Well, actually,
I know you're not single, but still,
Yeah, no,
I
it
want to
was
hear
actually
about
kind
that.
of
Well, he
funny
is
in that
he is. Okay, whoops.
I was working for a radio station out in the Hamptons at the time, and we were doing a street fair that was going on in Sag Harbor. And as we have this huge broadcasting bus, and as we're broadcasting, Paul McCartney is walking down the street now, not with his current wife and not with his first wife, the in-between wife.
Okay. All right.
And so we went and said to him, would you mind coming on the air with him? Or I shouldn't say one of our guys went to him, and he said, I'd like to come inside for a minute, but I won't go on the air. And he was very polite about it. He said, if I go on the air, it becomes about me.
Right.
And
right.
so we said, that's great. When we said hello to everyone, shook everyone's hands, and after a minute, he's getting ready to go, and I found myself sitting right next to him, and he's like, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stare, and he said, I'm very used to it.
Yeah.
And he went off the bus, and he had a very nice time, and then his wife came back on. And just reamed us out for having the audacity
the
to
wife-
Interrupt
bother
their
her
day?
husband.
Which wife
But
was
you
that?
made me
There's
want to
the
change my
Second one
answer
probably with
Okay.
to
Okay, got
Tom
it.
Savini, the makeup artist.
Oh, okay.
Was a fascinating guy to meet who I interviewed once. He was a
I'm just a huge Beatles fan, though, so
yeah,
I'm just
well,
really jealous of that
pretty
experience.
much my whole time. I sat there like
is the
this,
one-
you know,
you know who else
would be jealous?
This is the one leg. One leg.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I know. I'm trying to think of her name.
One leg.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
leg.
Wait, how many Beatles are left? Is Ringo still alive?
Yes,
Yeah, Ringo
Ringo
Starr.
and
Ringo
Paul.
and
That's
Paul.
it.
Does it even matter?
Yes, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I'm
He
just
still
saying.
plays.
Ringo
So
looks the
James,
best
you didn't
out of
answer the
two.
question.
Go ahead.
You know, that's yeah.
Who's
The
your
most, I said Crackhead Bob was
Oh,
probably,
right,
Crackhead
but he's not
Bob.
really the most
How about you?
fascinating.
So you didn't answer the question.
Yes,
I did.
Brian Kilby.
I want to
The
hear your Richard
alcohol
Gere
must be-
story.
Bonnie,
Yeah,
are you
perfect.
okay?
You're right,
Do
Brian.
you need help? I have
No.
somebody coming right now.
Bonnie, your Richard Gere story, though. Can you share that?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you met Richard Gere?
I met Richard Gere because he was in a Broadway show.
Did he pay for dinner?
Chicago?
No.
Was it Chicago?
No, he actually shaved his head for the part, and he played I forgot the name of the play, and I am a painter in my spare time.
A painter?
And a painter. I like to paint.
Oh, paint. Okay.
So I
thought you said painter.
So you know the movie
She's
American
dominatrix,
Gigolo, where
James.
the movie poster, and he's in a suit. So I made a poster of that, and I handed it to him. I was younger back
Right.
then, and he loved it, and he signed the playbill. Bent. The name of the play was Bent.
Bent,
B-E-N-T.
That's very cool.
And I met him after the
That's cool.
after the play.
cool.
Yeah, and he loved my thing. So that's my Richard Gere story.
Nice.
Well, for me, I met.
And I didn't ask him about the gerbil.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
You
For
mean that's
me,
not
Disappointed
a
fans
fascinating
now.
question? Or?
people, but the one that stuck in my head, and I don't know if you guys remember this guy. My sister had a interview with ABC News for an art job. Going back many years, I was only 16 years old, okay? So I was in the newsroom for ABC. And who did they introduce me to but Roger Grimsby? You guys remember Roger
Oh
Grimsby?
yeah.
Wow.
And I went in his office. I shook his hand. They go, Roger, this is Felix. His sister's here for the interview, whatever, right? And he shook my hand, and I said, look, man, I watch you whenever I can. You know, my whole family watches you. We think you're great and everything. And then at that time, there was the story about Rahway, New Jersey, with the nuclear, I don't know, there was like nuclear waste or something like that. And I said, you know, you're really good with the news and everything like that. And the guy next to him says, well, who do you think made up the story about, you know, Rahway with the nuclear waste? I don't know if you guys get the joke, but like it was like they made it look like he made up the story, even though he didn't, but they were like joking around, you know? And I saw Warner Wolf, you know, a few other people. Barbara Walters I saw come by in the thing, but that was it. But Roger Grimsby, you know, I just felt like I accomplished something at age 16 to shake Roger Grimsby's hand.
Very cool.
Even though not many people know who he is, you know.
I've definitely heard of him because
I kind of don't, but I'm just nodding my head. So like, oh yeah, he knows who it is.
So, do you guys have a first, not a first date story, any dating story where it stuck out like the one with me?
I'll tell you.
Where the guy wouldn't meet me at a public place.
I'll give you a
And
crazy
yeah,
one.
go ahead, James.
So, I'm doing a comedy show at Coasters. You remember Coasters in East Meadow?
I was the host of that.
Yeah, you
for-
probably were. You
for
probably
almost
witnessed
4
this
years.
whole thing go down. I go to the bar. Woman comes up to me. She goes, "Hey, I like you. Here's my phone number." She buys me a drink and she bounces, and I'm like, "Okay, that was kind
she
of cool."
left?
She wrote her phone number on paper. Like I'm like, "Who the fuck does that in 2023?"
Right.
I'm getting it's a matchbook with or a napkin with a phone number. I'm like, "What do I do with this?" So I text her. We make plans. She's like, meet me at this bar. It's like 2 days later. Meet me at this bar in Hicksville on Broadway. I don't know the name of the bar. And she's like, I'm just going to be there with my friend. She's bartending. I'm going to hang out. I'm like, okay. So I walk in, and there she is. She's sitting at the bar, and she's fucking knocking them back. I'm like, okay. And the bartender's there, but I'm like, something doesn't look right, because usually she's the only one in there, right? There are no other customers, and the bartender's doing her own thing, playing with her phone, scrolling, and I'm like, how come she's not? If that's her friend, how come they're not talking? So I walk up to her, hey, how are you? I order a drink, and then we hang out, we talk, and she's like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go smoke. Do you want to go smoke with me? I'm like, I don't smoke. I'm gonna stay here. She goes outside, and then I look at the bartender while she's outside. I'm like, do you know this girl? And the bartender's like, I have no idea who she is. And I'm like, this is already like, all right, we're starting off on a lie.
Wow.
She comes back in, she knocks it back.
Was she attractive?
Yes. She was attractive.
He would have shown up if she wasn't.
There you go.
I got her phone number. She gave me your phone number in person. I was like, wow. But
That's pretty good.
she comes back, she knocks him back, and she's like, let's just get out of here. Let's go back to my place. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But then I'm like, how's this girl going to get home? So I'm like, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take you home. She's like, that's right. I want you to take me home. And I'm like, no. No. I'm literally going to take you home. I'm going to bring you to your door, and I'm out.
Right.
And I take her to her door, and she's like, you coming in? I'm like, no fucking way. This girl was wasted, man. Like, you know when you're a kid and you get wasted, you're sloppy? She was sloppy. And then I pawn her off. She's gone. I get to my house. I'm in Smithtown, and I look at my passenger seat. I'm like, I have her fucking phone. Oh no! I have her. I have to go back to her house.
We got more people.
I want to hear the end of this story, but I love you, Kristen Tinsley. Come in and say
I'm
here.
Put your
Kristen.
face in the camera because no one can see
Would
you.
you like a glass of red wine?
The camera is here.
Yeah?
Don't get too close.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't want to too
Back
close.
Just say hi.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Hi. I don't know if you can see me.
I love Kristen.
It's good to see you.
I know. Yes, of course I don't.
Hello. Yeah, we're going to perform in the Giggler Room. So.
Oh, good
Can
luck.
I come after? Or is it,
Yeah, when are you done?
soon.
I don't think we're going on
7:30,
until 8.
quarter to 8.
Yeah,
then
okay,
done.
yeah, just come in. We're going to do our jokes and stuff. They're doing a fundraiser in there.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'm going to go get ready.
Okay.
Love you all.
Thank you for stopping by. I love Kristen. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
See you later.
Thanks,
Sorry,
meeting you.
James. I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
No, she wouldn't touch me.
I don't want your spirit juice on.
All right, fair enough. So where was I?
So you were
Oh, I have her phone
She
in
was
my
sloppy drunk. You dropped her off at her house. See, even though I'm drinking, I can follow the story.
I drove all the way back. She's in East Meadow, and I was.
Oh my God, that's where I'm from.
In Smithtown, and there's no punchline to the story. I drove back. I wasn't going to her door, so I just put it in the mailbox, and I bounced. That was it. That was the craziest story.
And then she never.
She texted me like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
James, you also have the other over drinking date that spun into the speakers.
It might be you.
Yes, there was a woman.
You had
Painters,
those
I believe. Or
Every
something.
dating story is going to come to me for some strange reason. Yeah, I know. I went out with this girl. I met her. I don't even remember her name. She's from.
Don't say her name if you
I'm
do
not gonna
remember
say
it.
her name. I'm just trying to, like, oh my God, I remember her. She's from the Hamptons, and she's like, we went out to Painters in Brookhaven, and I didn't realize she had a problem. A little. She's knocking them back. She had a little problem. I took her to Painters, and I'm like, she orders a high noon, and slams it, and I'm like, there's like 7 high noons on the bill. I'm like, how did these? Like, I had one. Like, so we're dancing on the dance floor. I'm like, all right, we'll just dance, and I kind of like spun her around. So I like the whole dancing thing.
James is a good dancer, by the way, folks.
I spun her. I did a spin, and she slipped off my sweat. Right, she slipped, and I said, "Oh shit!" And she tumbled, and it was, I think, one of your friends that were playing the band. What's her name?
Grace.
Slingshot?
Slingshot was probably playing, and she slipped out of my hand, and she knocked into like a rack of speakers, and I'm like,
God.
"Oh my God!" And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm okay." And I'm like, "I don't give a shit about you. The fucking speakers. I'm setting speakers up, the wires. I'm like, I got this, guys." The band members were just laughing their asses off. And I'm like, I gotta get this girl home.
Yeah.
She left. I don't know how she got home.
Reoccurring theme.
But if I recall every conversation we had on the phone, she would sit down on her couch in her apartment, and every time I heard her, like, she'd take a sip of something, I'm like, I could hear ice clanging in a glass, and I'm like, she's drinking. It's like Tuesday at 6. Like, she's hammered. But you know what I mean? And I should have picked up on that. I should have.
Red flags.
Big red flags.
So, Gia, what's your story?
He's happy.
Go with the sandwich story.
The what?
The sandwich story.
Oh, the sandwich. Which one is that one?
Yeah, you were dating.
Oh,
somebody.
yeah. So.
Why do I know your story?
Yeah, I'm a pretty conservative person. But this.
Oh, yeah.
And we go on a first. Well, it was the second date actually. First date was a coffee date. Second date, we're gonna go get some sandwiches, and then we're gonna go to the beach and eat the sandwiches. And it was during the COVID thing, so that you only one person could go inside. So I'm like, okay, we ordered it. I ordered it on my phone. I'm gonna go inside, and she wanted to pay half. I'm sorry, she wanted to pay for it first, and I said no, I got it. So she said no, I'll pay half at least. And I'm like, no, I got it. And she's insisting. And I'm like, listen, I got it. And she's like, no, you have to make me pay half of it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I got a very liberal feminist here. And I'm like,
oh, no.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So I'm like, I give up and I say, all right, fine. And I go in there, and it was like $40. So it was like $20. So she gave me $20, and I'm like, "What am I going to do with this?" And she says, "Let's eat the sandwiches," and then we eat it in the car. And after we're done, she goes, "You know what? I think I'm going to go home." I'm like, "You're going to go home? I thought we were going to go to the beach. I thought we were going to eat on the beach. What's going on?" And she's like, "I can't date a man that makes me pay for half the."
See, back to the who pays?
God.
You can't do that.
From then on.
Offered?
Huh?
Didn't she offer?
She
insisted.
Oh my God!
I'm like literally telling her like
it's a trap.
It was a trap.
It's a trap.
Test trap. Same thing.
I've had
Women are
situations.
crazy.
You guys are crazy.
I've had situations where I will hold the door. I always hold the door for women. And this one lady wouldn't walk in, and I'm like, please. And she goes. No, she wouldn't go. She insisted not to go. Then she finally gets mad because I'm like, I'm not freaking. This was after that, so I'm like, I'm not letting go of this door. You're going in. And sorry. She goes, it's not 1920 anymore. And I'm saying it is to me, And I made her go in there.
You would open the door for anybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether it be a man, a woman, a child. That's just a sign
but
of respect.
I won't walk in a door if a woman's holding it.
What kind of shit is
Really?
that?
I know. But that's
Wow.
That's just me. I don't know.
What do you say to her? I got the
But do you
penis.
just grab
go
it,
ahead
though?
of me.
I
Do
do
you
the
just
thing
say,
where
I got it?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
I do.
fair. That's fair. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's a heavy door, lady.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
heavy door, and we know
There
you're
are
not
some
strong
heavy
enough.
doors.
But that doesn't insult me.
How am I?
Yeah.
If I go before you, how am I going to look at your ass?
That's why the whole door thing was invented. Don't ruin it.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's supposed to be
To look
chivalrous.
at
No,
asses.
we're
Yeah.
looking at you.
Yeah.
I love
We're
that.
seeing what's going on in the caboose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tracy, did you get to share your story?
I didn't, and while they're telling theirs, I'm mulling so many over in my head.
There's
and,
so many, right?
You are a lot.
I have
but
a
there's
million, too.
one that stands out so badly, and I just have to tell it. And there's no harm, no foul. I'm on great terms with this person. It was a ways back, but we went on a date, and it was a long time to get to that date. Like, did we or did we not want to go on this date? And we go on this date and keep it low key. Only like 3 people know that we're on a date. And we meet for dinner. And after dinner, I'm hosting an event at a particular bar where there's a band playing. And I like to not really advertise my things unless I know where they're going because, again, I run a group. So, so once we go into the place, I just buy this person a beverage. And I'm like, okay, I have to float around the whole night. And, oh, yep, I totally get it. Like, whatever. And as I'm greeting people and I'm walking by, I'm like, is he holding hands with somebody else at the bar? Oh, no, it must be crazy. And I'm walking back and forth, whatever. And then I come back on my second round after being on the dance floor for a set, making out with another person.
No.
That's a dick move.
At the bar.
No.
Dick move.
Yeah. Well,
That's
there's
actually
a
a
little bit
question
of story to it, but yeah, that
wait
was
till the date was
probably. There's more history to it I won't get to, but that was probably my most shocking experience on
That's
a
a
first
move on his
date.
part. I would never fuck
On
that.
a
You
first
can't do
date.
that.
That's so
Even if you're not into
disrespectful.
it.
So, well, again,
disrespectful.
let's everything's good and copacetic. So I'm not going to beat things up and whatever. There's history of things, but yeah, that was my most shocking first date experience.
Can I
I think
double on
was
that?
are you effing kidding me? You've been asking me out for this long now, and I finally say okay.
That's crazy.
And yeah, so
We should all like compile our stories
Make a book?
and make a freaking book.
We can make a book.
Wow.
Who'd buy it? Who's gonna buy that shit? It's
well,
boring.
I honestly, I honestly think the podcasting about singles life, I think that's it's a freaking gold. If you think about it, at least 50% of Long Island is divorced, singled,
50, I
widowed,
would say 80.
widowered,
Yeah.
in our age demographic.
Yes.
So I mean, we're like preaching to the choir.
But,
Yes.
a lot
You
of
know,
times,
But they like to see themselves.
we've been doing this show for when we do ours. We've been doing it for a long time, and it started out very early with really specific with the dating, and we were a little bit more raw on it, where we were saying stuff that, I mean, we had to pull back a little bit because we were almost like we were like this close for names coming out, because we know all the.
The people watching probably knew.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We know. I'm going to clean it up. We know all the poop heads.
Yeah. Well, at the time too, the audience was small
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Yes,
so
right,
it's
yeah.
very obvious then. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think what happens is when we go live, we get a bunch of people, and then we have like 2,000 people looking at it to see if their name came up.
Oh yeah, people love to hear
Yeah.
themselves talk or be mentioned. Of
course.
So James, you're dying to tell us that.
Can I
wanna
double
hear.
on Tracy's thing?
100%.
I went on a date. Girl walks in with a date.
What?
No.
Yeah, she shows up with a guy, and I'm like, all right, this is gonna be.
So then,
there
how was
you
that
go.
a date?
She was there. We were talking. We were chatting, and let's go meet at this place in Center Reach. And she's like,
That's why she's single.
So she shows up.
Sorry.
I'm sitting there waiting. And I'm like, all right, should be here. She's like, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. She walks in with a guy, and the guy sits with us. Now it's 3 of us at the bar.
Are you with a third?
It's me, her, and the guy she walked in with.
What did you say?
I'm just looking at her like, is she for fucking real? I'm like,
So it wasn't like a friend.
and I want to name the town where they came from. I'm like, this fits the bill of that town.
Be careful.
And I look, and the guy's like, I'm gonna buy you a drink, and I'm like,
Buy me
you
a
can
drink?
buy her all the drinks you want, bro. I'm out. I bounced. I just left. I was like,
Wow.
But are you
And
sure
then I
they
left.
weren't? Are they
Maybe
sure they
they
weren't just
wanted to be in
friends?
some
no,
kind
no,
of
no.
strange
You don't go to a
threesome.
date with a friend. The guy was flirting with her the whole time, and I'm like, I left, and she's texting me, "What the fuck? How did you leave? Are you serious? You're just gonna
It
leave?"
wasn't
I'm
a
like, "Are
guy
you kidding
friend
me?"
that was just
Wait,
making sure she was
Maybe
safe.
they wanted like a strange threesome.
No, I'm not into that. I'm like, no. The guy was like flirting with her. It was weird. I'm like, it was 15 minutes of like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I need the plan. I gotta go. All right, she was from Shirley. Okay. That's when I learned
Yeah.
Shirley is out. If you're from Shirley, I don't like
worked
you.
in Shirley with
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of Shirley
I
women.
told you not to
so
do it, James.
I agree
You
with
did it
them.
anyway.
They're very strange.
Yeah. Well, it goes with that neighborhood. I don't know what it is. I don't know
That
what it
is the divorced woman's capital of Long Island.
Is that and sex
Shirley.
offender? By
Well,
the way,
And,
Just-
and Long Beach is the divorced man's capital.
That's Peter Pan.
Long
That's Never
Beach-
Neverland.
Is
Long
it
Beach
divorce
is Never
capital?
Oh, Long
Neverland.
Beach.
Yeah.
And I'm okay saying that out loud because it is. And my girlfriends that live there will agree. That's where little boys that never want to grow up go
no,
to.
people who live in Long Beach don't leave Long Beach. Like, nah, I'm not.
That's right.
They're like, I'm not coming out to you. You have to come here.
It's so hard to park.
And when you
It's
move
like
there,
another
they
island.
give you a
You can't get
volleyball.
there.
That's what that's your new hobby. You're a volleyball player, Long Beach guy. That's what it is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it goes for Long Beach.
I love
Long
these
Beach
stories.
is beautiful. I love that.
They're amazing. I have a million of them.
Yeah,
I
me
don't-
too.
They're burned in my memory like a fire rocket.
Did you know this? Long Beach uses taxi cabs. Like you can get a taxi.
They what?
Yeah. I said the same thing. You can go to it, get a couple of drinks. There's a taxi cab live on the street, and you can hop in it, and they'll take you wherever you want to go. A taxi,
yeah.
not Uber. A taxi cab.
Right.
Bonkers. Where else are you gonna see that?
I found like I'm divorced, and my first wife I married.
You're not divorced now.
No, not now. But when I first
Okay,
got
I was
divorced,
like, did I miss something?
when I first got divorced, I was like 45. Okay. Prior to that, I got married kind of young. I mean, I was 28 or whatever, So dating was a lot different back then than it was at 45. you know, in 2005 or whatever, right? So my first wife, very nice person, very Irish Catholic.
Good girl.
She was an Irish Catholic virgin. So I always say my son was an immaculate conception right, because of that. And then prior to that, I didn't really date much. And I was a good-looking guy back then, too. You know, I really
I was going to say, why are you being so hard on yourself now?
No, but I'm just saying, I was a good-looking guy. I was in shape. But I never really realized it, you know, like with women. Like, I'm the type of guy that wouldn't be able to get action in a house of prostitution with a fistful of 50s, okay? That's the
Oh, my God.
Right? In fact, I didn't even realize it where I bartended in this yacht club in a very old money yacht club in Oyster Bay.
Sans Souci?
What?
Sans Souci?
No, it was a yacht club, an actual yacht club with the yachts, the French-speaking wives, and all that stuff, right? And Theodore Roosevelt's granddaughter belonged to it, okay? And she, you know, she was like in her late 50s, early 60s. And so I was bartending there, and she kept laughing at everything I said, like jokes, stuff like that. And her date was some old guy that used to fall asleep on a chair, right? So she left. All of a sudden, she comes back. And I go, hi, Mrs. Roosevelt, you know, what do you, you know, what's the matter? She goes, oh, my dear boy, I locked myself out of my house, and I need someone like you to, you know, break in and let me in and everything like that. So I said, I didn't realize it.
Gullible.
And I said,
She was coming
I
on
can't,
to you.
yeah, I can't, Mrs. Roosevelt, you know.
And you don't think this is the most fascinating person you've ever met?
And I said to myself, after like 5 years, I said, damn, I could have had like a piece of Theodore Roosevelt's like.
You could be living on Sagamore Hill, man.
You know what I did on
Sagamore Hill, yes. I could
My
have had
friend lives
that.
right around the corner from there.
But anyway, I don't mean to interrupt, but like getting back to like when I got divorced, I was a chef, okay? So, you know, I was on the web, you know, all the online, Match.com, Plenty of Fish and everything. So you just have to say your profession. So I said chef. I would get, no exaggeration, like 20, whatever it is.
Women love
almost
to
a
eat.
day. Almost a day. I'd get like 20 responses a day, okay? And I realized being a chef was almost like being a rock star. You know what I mean? Like with women, especially
gonna
like
feed
women
me.
in their 40s, 50s, whatever. And I would meet them for coffee somewhere. And I had this one woman, I met her for coffee at Starbucks. And then she said, if we were to go out on a first date, what would you do? I said, well, like, we could hang out, watch TV in my apartment. I'll make a nice, like, cheese and fruit platter and stuff like that. She goes, can you do that tonight? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem, right? So she came over. Right up to, like, the third slice of cheese, she says to me, what do you want? I'm like, what are you talking about? She was asking me what I wanted to do sexually. And
Oh, my
everything like
God.
that, right? And I said to myself, look at this, like, prior to me getting married and like, back in my youth, I mean, this was like amazing. It was like a kid in a candy store. I said, I can't believe it, you know, that just because I'm a chef and I'm like, you know, 30 pounds heavier and bald, I'm getting a lot of women now, you know. Can you believe that? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, okay, so actually, I'm going to tell you something.
While you're talking, I have something for everybody. I'm going to be passing it around.
Is that what all that noise is? I'm like,
Yes.
what is going on back there?
Keep
The,
talking.
Does Bonnie need a refill?
She
It
does.
got tangled up.
Bonnie needs a refill.
The
I thought Governor's was haunted. I'm like, what's that noise?
And that's why Gio's here. He produced all the ghosts.
I always
shit.
do ghost stuff. The numbers have shifted so drastically because when we were younger, there was one guy for each
Pink
woman.
one's for you.
You went on a date, and that girl had options, right? In our 40s and 50s, men have all the options.
I guess so.
I disagree.
We
Wait,
do.
After
Can I
what I
say
just
something? Can
said,
I say
yes,
something?
you're right.
I went on the social media sites after 27 years of marriage. I was in a I was in a relationship. I got dumped. I had no idea about the single scene. I went on. I didn't know it was a hookup site.
Good.
I went on, what's the hookup site?
Tinder.
Tinder.
Plenty of
Plenty
Fish.
of Fish. And I got thousands
Sorry,
and
I don't know how I know
thousands
that.
and thousands and thousands
Of
of
responses.
responses.
Right.
And I was like, what is going on here? I was shocked. But then I went in person to a club. I don't want to mention the name of the club, but it's right here in East Meadow. And
Oh, governors?
That,
No, not
that
Governors,
narrows it
not
down, Bonnie.
Governors.
I'm sorry.
it's a club, and I went with a also single girl. And in my day, when you were single, the woman would make eye contact with the man, not approach the man, and just give them just do a
look.
little subtle thing, and the man would come over. So I'm at this club, and I'm thinking I'm looking good, I can't make eye contact with any of the men. And I see the women going over to the men, and I'm like, what is happening here? Everything had changed.
Yeah.
Now, because of the Me Too movement, the men, is that what I...
No, it's not because
I don't think it's-
Before the
I thought
Me
that-
Too
Before,
movement.
before Me Too, there was
Yes.
Pick Me.
you know, you know what the problem is.
There's a Pick Me movement going on.
For every woman that is dignified and holds themselves to high standard, we have 10 women that will literally do anything you want on the first date.
Exactly.
I'm telling you,
From
because
Tinder?
Especially if they're
no,
from Shirley.
so from
too.
anywhere.
Oh, man, no,
Anyway.
you don't want that.
Oh, stop.
Shirley's going to write us letters
you know,
after this.
what's it called? Your stories and stuff like that. The 1 year that I went from my divorce to now the girl I'm with now, I must have had a date every week.
Yes.
You are a
That's
stud
right.
muffin. Look at you.
And no, it's not even a stud muffin. It's just that
That's
option.
the way it is. Yeah. I had 3. I would date women 3 each week
I get one a month.
when
What
I
the hell
first
is
got
going on here?
divorced.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not funny.
It's true.
I have a friend that did speed dating last week. Male.
Oh,
lives,
that,
lives,
yeah.
here, lives here.
Yeah.
Lives here.
Oh, I never did that. How was that?
I haven't done it.
sounds
Male
terrible.
lives here in Levittown. Now I know a bunch of women that go to speed dating all the time. They're lucky if they walk out with one date. My friend, male, who did it on Saturday, which is why he didn't come to Battle of Bands, has 3 dates this week.
Yes.
Dates
Wow.
3
So
dates this week.
I never understood.
What? I mean, the balance is off, man.
I never
Balance-
understood speed dating because when they told me that she wanted to do a speed dating with
Right.
me, and then I asked her, I go, what do you mean by speed dating? Like how many minutes do we
Right.
have? She goes, well, what do we have? 3 minutes?
Is
It's
it
like,
Yeah, it's
3
like five
minutes?
minutes.
you
and
have
I'm-
7 minutes.
I'm like, well, that's not even enough time for me
We
to
put
take off my
7 minutes
clothes.
in heaven when we played
know?
that.
Jesus Christ, that sounds terrible. I don't want to go. I don't ever want to do speed dating. That's all.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but
I
for the
think it's
people,
interesting 'cause
for
you
the
get to meet
people
up
that
like
aren't in the
25
group,
people
No,
in one
because
shot.
first of all, you have to pay for it up front, right?
well, I've
the guy's
never
like, you
done
got to
it.
pay us $40. What if I show up to the bar and I look at all the girls that I'm gonna speed date with, and I'm like, I don't want any of these girls already. I want my money back?
But you know what the other thing?
well, that's a
but
shallow
the other-
thing, though.
It is
Because
shallow,
talking
but
to
fucking
them-
we're all
No,
shallow.
but you know what?
No, we're not
have
all
them, yeah.
shallow.
Hey, Trey said.
No, but
We're
you know
not-
what?
Come on, you
No,
know
no,
whether
no.
or not you want to talk.
But
to
the worst part is this: if you go to a speed dating thing, what's going to happen? There are going to be there's going to be 20 women and 2 guys.
No, because that's
no,
how
they
it's set
even
up.
it out. They go.
They
We
do.
need 2 more women
Yes.
to fulfill the
But
need.
okay, but
All right,
but
so
let me
he makes a living off what he does. Don't pick on him.
Who?
The person who does the speed dating.
No, but what happens is
Still gonna
so
make
now
trouble.
now you have 20 women that
Well,
you
that's
get to
you.
choose out of, right? And you start out with 2, so now you got to get to 20. What happens? You're not getting the 20 best people out there.
Right.
You know, you're getting the closest thing to farm animals.
Oh, man,
Oh, my
that's
God.
bad.
I love that.
Right. Now we're killing Shirley. Now
you know
we're
what?
killing
If you
speed
want-
dating.
She's a
If you-
Shirley farm animal. You are a.
If you
Then
did
that's
speed
double
dating,
dose.
if
Well,
you-
they're all farms out
if you
east.
did
I mean,
speed
we're
dating
close,
for
I
just
guess.
woman and woman, lesbians, whatever, it'd probably be very successful. I'm telling you, once you,
I'm sure they would. No, they probably do the okay, straight people. This is for straight people in their 40s, right?
There is an age
Yeah,
demographic.
Sure. This is-
Yeah, I'm sure.
and it's always
Yeah, there's a
the-
cutoff.
They
with the
do.
age.
They do things appropriately.
and it's always like 10 years older.
Pass me the wine. I can't with you people.
They do things appropriately.
This is why I bring the large bottle. And I
You know what I found too is another good place to work if you're single? A hospital. Okay, I was a chef in the hospital. right?
For the grieving family members?
Yeah.
or-
No, but it's funny to say because
Next, she's going to tell us a funeral home.
I was the food
A funeral
production
home.
manager in Manhattan in St. Vincent's, right? And your office is always in the basement of the hospital because that's where they do the food. Next door is usually the morgue, right?
It's close by. That's for
There'd
sure.
be like gurneys with bodies with sheets over them outside my office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm familiar.
So one day, when I first started working there, this woman comes out of the door of the morgue. Beautiful. Oh my God. She looked like she was African American. She looked like what the hell?
Should I just start saying pretty African American?
Yeah, well,
Halle Berry.
Yeah, well, kind of like a Halle Berry.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So I said to her, I said, "Hi, how are you?" She goes, "I'm so tired. We had a lot of people like this week." I go, "Oh, you work in the morgue?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "You know what? Tomorrow morning, you want to come in and have a cup of coffee with me?" She goes like that. I'm like, "Okay." So here I am, right, talking to her with a cup of coffee in the morgue, right, with the
Oh my
drawers
God.
and everything.
The smell of formaldehyde
And
wafting through the
the
air.
next thing I know, we're going out on dates like after work and everything like that, you know. So that's like one of the best places, and she
It's
wasn't
an
the only one.
aphrodisiac. Like, time is short. Get your ass on
Yeah,
it.
and I had because I was the chef there, right? I had the nurses come down and they go, "You want to get a cup of coffee?" That seemed to be like the big line.
Cup
like,
of
in the
coffee, James.
hospital.
That's your thing.
I'm
Yeah,
down
like
with a cup of coffee. Listen, I'm a
like,
coffee
yeah,
snob. I'm
okay.
definitely a coffee snob.
You know.
Well, you
So
know what? I
that was
can't
it.
believe it, but we only have 5 minutes left.
Oh, my God.
All of us are going to plug
I'll
some
shut up.
things.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to be here
Got my notebook.
on May 31st in the Giggle Room.
That's my wedding anniversary, by the way.
McNeely.
Your former
Terry McNeely
wedding
show.
anniversary?
On May 29th, I'm going to be hosting a show at another venue with Mike Keegan, Larry Izzo, and Eric Taglione. And that's all my plugs. James, you want to plug anything?
At the moment, I don't have any shows coming up. No.
Okay. What about podcasts?
Podcast. I got 0 right now. We're focused. Actually,
What about Wednesdays?
I'm focused. Yeah,
What
well,
about your podcast? that
well,
you
I was
guys
gonna allow
do together?
Gio to
Do
plug
I
it,
have
but-
to, like,
So that means.
But
Well,
listen, tomorrow I'm going to look at a house. Right now, the focus
I have
is
a house for sale.
real
You want a
estate.
house?
I do want a house, but I'm going to go look at a house tomorrow in Farmingdale. So
I have a house for sale in Syosset. We can
okay,
talk after.
I bet it sounds beautiful. I'm sure it is.
So okay. Why don't you plug your friend's podcast? that you guys
All right,
are
Wednesday
on?
nights we do the Geo podcast. Geotopia, right? Find it.
forgets.
Geotopia Presents. It's on Spotify. What's the name of it, Geo?
The Geotopia Experience.
The Geotopia Experience.
And it is a great podcast.
Is it?
It is. I just keep forgetting to,
Watch.
tune in at that time.
Oh, well then how you know it's great?
Because I've tuned in twice and
Okay,
I loved it.
good. Thank you.
I did love it. I wouldn't say, I don't lie, so I say the truth.
Great.
Okay, go ahead, Gio.
So we have Prohibition. We have Radio Shack. Is going to be there. What is it? May 16th.
May 16th.
Is
May
Radio
16th.
Shack the name of a band?
It's the name of the band. They're awesome.
They were part of Battle of the Bands.
Mike Raffinelli. Right now we're working on. We just had the Battle of the Bands, so we're doing something similar called Hold Down, Throw Down. And it's going to be a country, same thing, full
Right.
bands, country. It's going to be at 89 North. It's going to be September 19th. We have a Halloween party. It's going to be the biggest Halloween party
We
at
have
the
a
warehouse.
Halloween
Oh,
party.
wow. Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Where's
When I say this,
Halloween?
we
Tell
do
us
all
about
this
that.
together.
I'm going to an
pitch it? Go
Indian
ahead.
wedding.
I
so
have my own
can't
stuff
go
to pitch, but I'll
anything
pitch our
else.
grave rave if you want.
Oh, I'll do
It's
it.
not,
I'll
is
do
it
it.
on
I'll
the
do it.
real
And then,
Halloween?
Yes, it's actually on
It's
I
Halloween.
had
October
to go to
31st.
an Indian wedding.
October 31st. Well, you'll be already be in costume, so you're good. October 31st, we're going to be at the warehouse. We have
Grave
love,
Rave.
Grave Rave. It's called. We have Love Song, which it's a costume party.
I like Love Song.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the best bands out there.
Get your tickets
expensive
early
too,
because
yes.
we can only hold so many people.
And
Halloween's like my
It's in
favorite.
Prohibition.
No, it's in
no.
the warehouse.
it's in the
Oh,
warehouse.
warehouse.
yeah.
Okay.
That's it for me for now. I mean, I got 1,000 things, but I'll save some time for Tracy.
So, well, if you belong to the Sensational Singles of Suffolk, 45 plus, or if you would like to join the Sensational Singles of 45 plus, we have tons and tons of things in our events list. I personally do about 4 or 5 things a week, and I also have other admins. So I will tell you, May 10th, we have a daytime music bingo at the Grafton and Hot Hog. And then from 5 to 9, one of our bands, just like Radio Shack and Old School Crush that was in Battle of the Bands, we have Side Effects. They're going to be at the Stone Goat. And that's in St. James, because again, all my things are in Suffolk. And then on May 16th, Not to Go Against Pro and Mike Raff and Radio Shack, Side Effects will be starting their what we call summer residency at Parsnips Lake House in Ronkonkoma, where they will be playing once a month. And on the 17th of May, group tickets are still available if you want to come see Grease with me at the 2 p.m. matinee performance at Creative Ministries. Tickets are $30. Get in touch with me.
Is that in Patchogue?
Why does that sound
It's
familiar?
Oakdale.
Sadel.
And
Oakdale.
how,
Yeah, I
I know
know
somebody
and
that's going
how
to be
can
performing in
everyone
it.
find you on social media?
Yeah,
go first.
I am Sensational Singles of Suffolk, 45 plus. Our logo looks like the Long Island with the Friends font is Sensationals. We're pretty easy to find.
Mine is Geotopia is one of them. That's the one. The party.
GIO.
GIO, Topia, Utopia, but instead of it, GIO Topia. And the other one is Hell. Everybody kind of knows Hell, but not that many people. You know, we have a very reserved clientele.
I think I'm part of that group.
Are you in there?
Messy.
Yeah.
It's a good group.
And James, how do people find you on social media?
I don't want anybody looking for me. Just
Yeah.
leave me alone right now.
You don't have a Billy James page yet at this
I
point?
got no.
Yeah, when you see him, just walk up to him and say something funny. He loves that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank all of you so much for
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt. Brian, do you want to give a little plug?
Brian.
Oh,
'Cause
tune
Brian's
in
on
my
the radio
radio show
station.
on WLNG 92.1 FM or on their
Nice.
app, and also keep your eyes pierced for the season premiere of Tulsa Kings and a small scene that I'm in.
Oh, that's awesome.
So why did you just make it like I'm the driver? Now
Well,
I'm a
that's
little,
technically why
now
I'm
I'm a little pissed
you know,
at you tonight.
You know, it's funny. I don't know. I didn't know how to say.
You're hiding
to
your
come on a
brilliance.
single show with the guy who technically is going to be my future brother-in-law.
Uh-oh, I better watch what I say.
You think you got to watch what you say?
And our next show is on the first Thursday of June, and we have 3 people. I always never say it just in case anyone cancels, but there might be a 4th really cool person that shows up. So thank you, everyone, for coming, and anyone who watches, and thank you, everybody.
Can I plug something?
Of course.
I, like James, have nothing to do, so we're going to be at a bar in Shirley.
Yes, I'll meet you there.
You make your own event.
IPAs are on you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Take care. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Yep.